that you cannot get on web pages, etc. That's the reason for a meetup. And also during my presentation, please do not hesitate to type in any question or comment, even if I'm speaking too loud, or if I'm not speaking loud enough. Please don't hesitate to type it into the chat window. I will try to read it. I'm not ignoring you, and I want to keep it, especially the talk afterwards, as interactive as possible, to get away from the downsides of being online. And I hope we all see someday in person, and where I can give you more. What I want to talk about is Corrently. Corrently by Stromdau, a concept that we derived. It's as boring as an energy tariff. It's as boring as we are using the blockchain technology in the background. But we are there since 2 years. Stromdau originally was founded in 2016, early 2016. Then in 2017, we moved to Germany with our legal entity, and we are on the market with a tariff since 1.5 years. Currently is now the, let's say, the worldwide offering, but we again started in our home market in Germany to roll out and quickly want to distribute all over the world with the same concept. The one end site that you see on the web page is a tariff, as I mentioned. So you're all aware of what an energy tariff is. There are currently, I think, 1,200 tariffs that you get on the big consumer portals that you're able to select from. But on the other side, we're doing a few things different. We are building up something that is a decentralized capacity market for renewables. Capacity market and decentralized. That sounds a lot like something that was already there in a concept from the German BDEW 4 years ago. But it's a little bit more, as we removed all the intermediates in between and give the power back to the customers, back to small generation sites, small PV plant owners, and of course also to the households that are consuming our energy. So far, I always get asked, oh, nice concept, but you have a tariff. So far, I can tell you that everyone who decided to get an electricity tariff from us is so happy that we have, at the moment, no churn rate at all. So all customers still exist in our customer base. That's a good sign. Having said that, a few words about me. Thorsten Zörner, I'm one of the founders of Stromdau. I published several books around the energy market. As Mike had in the introduction of today's meetup, I also have a blog. Since end of the 2000s, I have a blog Stromhaltig, where if I have some time, try to give some background information on the energy market and things that you typically not hear in media and press releases. So what are the real issues in the grid? Why do we have sometimes issue with not enough or too much energy, etc., etc. During the last years, of course, as we do business with Stromdau, you get also a few background information on blockchain usage in the energy sector, or how I typically say it, distributed ledger technology, as it fits more than purely saying about blockchain. I've mentioned Corrently. Behind Corrently, there is a process, and it is a whole ecosystem. So, and it is the ecosystem behind. So typically, you enter such a market by becoming a customer, by getting an electricity tariff, or you enter the customer as a utility or as a community owner. or you enter the market as an owner of a PV plant, wind park, or some water, and we also have some biogas plants, generation units. If you entered the market, it is a marketplace. A marketplace, as you know them from eBay, Amazon, of course, has a big marketplace, but now it's for energy. The main difference, it is not a marketplace where you sell kilowatt hours for a particular time frame. It's a marketplace for capacity. And that's the main difference. That's the main differentiator. And one of the big lessons we had to learn, and if I'm looking around into other projects that are there, if people are talking about peer-to-peer energy trading, they always talk about selling energy and trying to mimic the completely fuel or fossil-based bias of energy-only markets. So if you look on energy exchanges like the EEX or the EPEX spot market, what you're trading there is typically packages of kilowatt hours or megawatt hours in a particular time frame. What you're not trading there is capacity. This has a lot of drawbacks to the ecosystem, and actually is, especially for the renewables, where you don't have fossil costs or fuel costs involved, a real pain in the ass. Why? Because you compete with people that have fuel costs, and of course, the value of your product goes down. So what we are doing with Corrently and with the ecosystem behind this, we are allowing customers, household customers, to rent portions of a production unit over time to become a digital asset owner of a capacity unit and to directly get the energy from there, and additional energy that's required, balancing energy that is required, comes from the regular market. So instead of putting the balancing in front of, right, we put it in where it is at the moment also, and think that customers quite or know better than any utility could do what their demand is, what energy they require, and where they want to buy energy from and where not. So we give a little bit the power back, still having anything under control so that there is always enough energy and electricity generated and that the balancing is kept. So that's Corrently, and that's the Corrently ecosystem. How does it look like? We had some hurdles talking to the different legal organizations that are in the background and also to our lawyers to find a way how we are bringing that to market. And the solution that we found is we introduced Corrently and Corrently, the term, by the way, comes from the Italian corrente. If some Italians are maybe under the participants, you might remember it, or if your Latin is still there, you know corrente is stream or Strom, electricity in Italian language. So if you're collecting that, you get a digital asset, a coin, a token, or however you like to call it, a currency, and that currency is Corrently. You're collecting them by consuming energy. So every kilowatt hour that you consume as a regular household, you don't need a smart meter. If you have one, it's much easier, but if you don't, it's also fine. You get one Corrently. What can you do with a Corrently if you're a customer? What can you do with those Correntlys? You can spend them. You can spend them on a marketplace where there are generation facilities, and you, in exchange of capacity or for Correntlys, you get capacity, and you become a digital asset owner. What is a digital asset owner? That's some person that owns a little bit a share of an asset and is receiving also the energy from there. So on day 0, you obviously don't have any Corrently's. Over time, you get more and more Corrently's. You decide from many assets that you might want to own. You can only afford as much as you required, as the Corrently's that you are collecting are based on your demand, actually the energy that you consume. And that also ensures over time that there is no overcapacity and not no. Having said that, it sounds complex, but it isn't. If you look on one of those nice portals like Verivox Check24 or others that are there, it typically takes you around 50 minutes to figure out what your actual demand is. Do you want a eco or a clean energy tariff? Do you want to pay yearly? Do you want to put bonus payments in or bonus payments out? All that to figure out. So if you start the journey to change your electricity provider, it takes 50 minutes of your time. As soon as you decide it, and that's maybe you heard of the tool called Switch App that allows quickly changing your electricity tariff. It takes around 5 minutes to change an electricity tariff. With Corrently, we wanted to save people's life and save time, of course, or to give you more time. So in our model, and I will show that in a few seconds, I show you in a few seconds that it only takes 5 seconds to become an asset owner and to decide which asset should provide energy to you. Why can we do that? Because we are using the distributed ledger technology in the background, a little bit high sophisticated. We are using technologies like ring loops. It's all on the private, not on the private, all on the public Ethereum blockchain. So you can, of course, also move to another vendor or to a partner of us with your assets, and still everything is there. It's really digital property or digital asset that you receive and that we work with. So I hope that the screen switching is working, and maybe Mike, you can unmute yourself for a second, just to tell me if my web browser is now shared.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, perfectly. Thank you very much. And I will hurry up a little bit in sake of time. So if you access as a customer our website the first time, it will look like a little bit like you see here on screen. I'm sorry, I'm using the German version here. If you are not a German speaker, go to corrently.com. There you have the English website. However, the English website has some drawbacks that I don't want to get deeper. I think the German one is enough for that speech, and I can show you a lot of the stuff here on the German website. So what do we have here? First of all, even if you are going to the website now on corrently.de and then clicking on the logo, you will see a screen similar to this. You already get 100 Corrently's, so similar to if you got 100 or if you consumed already 100 kilowatt hours from us that you can spend. And for the German market, we currently have 2 assets that you can select, that you can spend on your car. So what I will do now is I have 100 Corrently's and I want to put it on a solar plant in close to Saarbrücken and spend 35 Corrently's in exchange to 1 kilowatt hour per year. You all know 1 kilowatt hour per year is might be not that much, but as I already own it, it produces energy for me. As you can see here, it's counting up. So you get directly the feedback of how much energy got generated for me. Now, let me get a second one just for the sake. from the area around Heidelberg, a solar plant, and you see that now the generated energy for me is counting a lot quicker than it was counting before. At the moment, I have the capacity for 2 kilowatt hours per year. That's not a lot. But over the time, you get to that 100% that you would expect to have. At the beginning, you start with actually 0%. Why do I already have that 100% here is because my demand is currently 0 kilowatt hours, as I don't have consumption linked to my digital wallet that you see here. As you see here, and that's a thing, it took only a few seconds, actually less than 5 seconds, or just to have it always within 5 seconds. We already have the transaction, the ownership movement of those shares recorded inside as a pending transaction in the blockchain, and it will be later on confirmed and be put into the blockchain. Having said that, I don't have a demand here at the moment because I freshly opened and logged out earlier for my tariff. I can go here and sign up for a standard tariff, as you know it from every other utility company. So that is the. Now I have a problem that my phone is ringing. Let's continue. So you have a standard tariff, and you saw so far the 5 seconds. How you use them by selecting out of available capacities, and if you go to the order page, yeah, it takes 5 minutes to fill out the order page for normal provider change. But that are the typical things that you need in the energy market. So coming back to the presentation, I invite you to go to the site, play around, feel what digital ownership is, because that's one of the major things that that the distributed ledger technology brings to us. The concept that you're able to own something, that you're able to share something, that you're able to move things around. We are using that for a capacity market. Those are the 2 websites that you can use, the German one if you're in German language, and obviously the English one for the English language. What is the major thing is, I said it's an ecosystem, so it's a marketplace. That's our current market stats. There are consumptions behind. Of course, there's a value to the Ether, a value to the Bitcoin, and a value to the euro for each or for our digital currency called Corrently. You can see that all the time. The bigger question, and that's where I want to close on. If you see blockchain presentation those days, and most of the people are talking about ICOs. You will not hear anything about an ICO on my side, because we are not doing an ICO. We are there to run our business, our core business, inside the blockchain. You also hear a lot about smart contracts, and people usually don't explain what a smart contract is. I heard things like a smart contract is able to do AI, artificial intelligence. No, it's not. This is a typical smart contract. That's a smart contract that we have with one of the asset owners, and it's written in, let's say, in plain English to give you an understanding. But as you see, and as if you pass through what those conditions are, you can see that they can easily be tested and coded inside a programming language. That's how we are working with our asset owners. That's a major piece or an important piece for our due diligence, and to ensure that the value that we promise to the user, the generation that we promise to our customers, that really exists. so it's all bound into a smart contract. However, you see here also something, another technology hurdle that we have to fight with. It's a .bit address. Why? Because the normal web can, of course, always be shut down, etc. And one of the big things of the blockchain, and especially if it comes to the decentralized apps, is that they work without a central entity. The way how we couple that to have charts, some updated information, etc. available is that we run also on ZeroNet, a website, a fully distributed website, where you get all the smart contracts, where you can read them, where you can talk to us, and also where you can get a lot of insights, the complete performance charts of the generation units, etc., etc. So having said that, we are now a completely decentralized environment that is worldwide available, and StromDAO today, to open up also for questions. Yes, we have an energy tariff for Germany, or provided in Germany. We are about to roll out to other markets together with partners. We're already partnering with some. We have a customized marketplace for communities. You saw already that there were 2 assets that were the 2 assets that I give to you for free. But if you are a certain community in a certain region, a certain city, or a certain interest group, you can say that you build up a website that only has in the marketplace those kinds of assets. What StromDAO is also giving, we have to ensure a little bit that the ecosystem is working, and we're doing that by providing due diligence, but also the filing service for the asset owners. Asset owners get something to sell right up start, and therefore the due diligence is required. So that is StromDAO, and that's our Corrently tariff at the moment. And to close all up and make it a little bit more practical, I brought this little video in, which shows you what I had on a shiny website now on the command line, because I think all those website stuff that always confuses people. What we've done, and one of the magic things that you can do with blockchain, is that it's just an API, just a protocol that you can do. So I installed a command line client, and with that command line client, it already has a wallet, a digital wallet, which is able to hold property. And what I'm doing here is, and what is recorded in the movie, is I'm buying an asset, similar to what we did on the website, completely decentralized. The transaction is already run. Of course, the data already changed. It's confirmed. And I see that, as you saw it on the website, that the energy is already produced. And of course, it takes some time until I see the real value of energy that got produced. As soon after I did that, I can also check at any time what the transactions are. You can also see those transactions on using the standard Ethereum tools like Etherscan, etc. So what that command line tool and also what a website is doing, it's actually just providing an overview and a kind of a kind of semantic for the data that is publicly available on the blockchain. Good. Having said that, I say thank you very much for joining today, and would say, I think, Mike, the idea is to open up the mic for everyone, or how do you like to proceed?